Hey, I'm Bob and I like to make stuff. Today, we're gonna make a picnic table with built-in grills. Today we're back out at the farm where we made the barn doors a few weeks back. We've also cleaned out the inside of the barn, so now we're basically at a clean slate. We've got a fire pit, the weather's changing, but we don't have anywhere to sit, so today we're gonna make a really simple picnic table, but we're also gonna add in a grill to the top of it so we can cook some food. Let's do it. I'm out here making these cuts on the floor and it's not super comfortable because we don't have a full shop set up yet. And I wanted to point out that if you don't have a miter saw station, we've got some really inexpensive plans. I made one before and I'll probably end up making one out here as well. But while I finish these, I want to send you over to Josh because he's working on the burner for the top of the table.
To make this picnic table unique, we're going to add 2 custom grill surfaces. So when you're sitting down, you can like cook marshmallows or grill food. And to do that, we're going to take some fire bricks and make 2 boxes, and on those boxes we're going to have grill surfaces. The heating element is going to be made from replacement grill parts. We have a 1-pound propane bottle connected to a hose with a nozzle that's going to be fed into this burner, and that burner is going to be ignited by one of these push-button igniters. Now, because we didn't take these straight from an existing grill, we bought them all individually. I'm going to hook them up now to make sure that it will give us the flame that we're hoping for later.
Most of the pieces are cut now, and we've started laying them out so we can just quickly screw them together and get this thing moving. We've got the leg assemblies, we've got the 2 benches upside down, some extra support pieces, and then this is the tabletop upside down. It is this way because we have to assemble it this way, but also I wanted to show you this center support is going to be underneath the table and it's going to hold the 2 brick boxes. So the bricks are going to be in there. One thing we do have to do before we assemble all this is cut a channel right here. And that channel is going to hold the fuel line so it can go into the box. That way we can get gas into the burners. To make that, because we don't have a router here out at the farm, we're actually going to use a sliding miter saw to make a dado. Now you can do this by setting a stop so that you set the depth that this can cut at, and then you use the sliding feature to pull it back and forth. And then you make a cut, move the piece down, make another cut, just like you would with a table saw, but in this case you're using a sliding miter saw. I've got the leg assemblies on both sides of this bench and they're kind of wobbly, and that's because they need a diagonal support that runs to the bench top. So this piece is going to attach right there, and then I'm going to put in another 2x4. And so basically I want to line it up here in the right way and then mark the little overhang, and we'll chop that piece off so it's not sticking down. We got one of the benches finished. We're going to flip it over, and I can already tell this is a pretty heavy bench, but it is pressure treated, so that means it's kind of wet. As it dries out over time, it will lighten up a little bit. We got both of the benches done. Now basically the table is the same construction, the pieces are just bigger. The only real difference is that we're going to have a center support running down through the middle that's going to hold the fireboxes. The supports that go diagonally are going to terminate into that long support instead of the cross ones. We've got the fire bricks set in place where the hole's going to be, and we're going to use that to line up the next support. We'll do that one, then move the bricks down into this opening, and then put the last piece in place and then just trim it off at the end if there's any hanging out. We've just put some temporary pieces here to simulate the legs and then the cross piece, and that lets me put this diagonal piece in place so I can go ahead and secure it and then add the legs. This whole leg assembly is a little bit bigger than the ones on the benches, so it's just easier to do it this way. We got all the bricks dropped into place. Josh put in the burner like he described earlier, and then we also added a couple of small pieces of brick, and these are going to act as standoffs for this deflector. This sits above the flame to evenly disperse the flame across this area. And then we've also got a grate that will just sit right on top. We may need to put in some screws to stop this from sliding around, but I think we're ready to test it. I got the igniter mounted underneath the table, and we made a little shelf to put the gas bottle in. Now this gas bottle is not going to stay here. When we're using the table and we want to cook, we're going to set it in there, and the rest of the time we're going to unscrew it and take it with us just for safety. We also did some tests with the burner and found that this particular type of burner that we got is not actually great for this application. All the fire comes out of the top, and then this little section at the end has a bunch of extra holes which work in a normal grill situation, but in our case it creates a hot spot. So we've got another one on order that has holes coming out of the sides, and that should give us more even heat. We got the whole table put together, and we're still waiting on those new burners to come in, but before that we wanted to put everything together and make sure it worked. Also, I didn't really talk about it before, but I wanted to point out that these are in fire bricks. These are the same bricks that I used for the forge, and if they can keep in the heat of a forge, they can keep the heat of this little tiny fire from getting to the wood. Bob from the future here. I wanted to point out that the bricks I'm using here are the same ones as the forge, but the comments on the forge video told me that these are hard bricks that absorb heat, but there's also soft bricks that reflect heat. That's actually probably what you want to use here. This should be perfect for roasting marshmallows, cooking hot dogs, things like that. So once we get those new burners in, we'll move this outside and give it a shot. We've got the table all finished and tested. Now it's time to move it outside. And if you are going to put one of those outside, you probably want to make some covers to cover up the grill so that the grills won't fill up with water and leaves. So there it is, a really basic picnic table, but it has a really unique feature. And honestly, you could swap out these grills for a bunch of other things. You could build a little herb garden in there. You could make a cooler to put some drinks in, napkins and utensils. There's all sorts of things you could do in this area if you don't want to grill. We are going to have some plans available for this table. You can customize that section as you want. But word of warning, if you do put a grill in place, you're on your own, you're dealing with gas and fire, and it can be dangerous. If this project gave you some ideas for something that you can make for your backyard, I would love to hear about it down in the comments. We've also got tons of other types of project videos that you may want to check out, and if you're not subscribed, be sure to do that as well. That's it for this one. Thanks for watching. See you next time. With built-in grills.
Girl.
What'd you do?
I'm gonna go ahead and test them together to make sure that the flame still works, the igniter works, the hose works, the fire works, the air works, the sun works, and that bird works.
The Wi-Fi works.
I didn't know where to stop.
With built-in grills.
Oh yeah.
With built-in grills.
That's it.
With built-in grills.
Cool.